Hey guys, welcome to the Dreamer Cypher episode 6.
Yep.
Today we have with us Jason Alexander, not the guy from Seinfeld.
Yep. Get that a lot.
But no, I mean, Jason's incredible, man. Got a chance to meet with him yesterday, and here he is live today. Before we go ahead and get started, we want to go ahead and just give a big shout out to our very first sponsor on the podcast, Tabala Mexican Cuisine. Incredible food truck. You guys need to go and support them, tabalacuisine.com.
Welcome to the Dreamer Cypher.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you probably mute us.
That was me.
What? Okay, whatever. Anyway, Jasper Axelrad, incredible person, individual. Big shout out. Thank you so much for placing your trust in us and allowing us to partner up with you on many different podcasts. So guys, please do us a favor. Go check out Tabala Mexican Cuisine. Like them. Go try their food. If you are an entrepreneur, right now she's actually offering a 5-course meal. If you're willing to go ahead and just do a 30-minute phone call that actually helps you and your business for 401ks for business owners and also for your employees. So really incredible stuff that she's doing for the community.
And that individual's human interest is the one that's running that with the just the 30-minute consult. And then they also are partnered up with Black Hat's Distillery. So Black Hat's doing the cocktails match up with each course that they're doing. I was there, so if anybody checked out the photos that I was doing and on the Facebook page, the chef, the team that Jasper has, phenomenal. So you won't be disappointed. So it's wonderful. But as we said, if anybody wants to get on here, we'll share what we're doing and help you out. And it's just another way to get out there, get to a larger crowd, pretty much leverage what we're doing, and get to a different crowd and whatnot. So
100%. And I've got everything scrolling there at the bottom so you can actually link their Facebook page. So Jason has no idea really what we do here.
That's very true.
Which is awesome. So basically, Jason, what we do is we just do a live, unscripted, authentic, and really just these conversations that business owners maybe should be having or they're already having behind closed doors, and for some reason it's a secret. And so for us, it's, this conversation that how are you going to better yourself if you're keeping things behind closed doors? Right. And obviously there is a time and place for some of those things. But when it comes to business, we have so many people who have this, I call it a poverty mindset, where they're so afraid to maybe talk about their plans. They're so afraid to talk about the things that they're doing because they think somebody else may steal those ideas.
Yeah.
But really, that's not it at all, man. Like the more people you can partner up with, the more people you can connect with, you have this expansive and this abundance mindset. Dang, what does that look like when you guys work together, So, but yeah, I mean, go ahead and just do kind of a quick intro. Tell us who you are, what you do, what you're about.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jason. My name's Jason Alexander. I'm, here in the Springs. Basically, I've been an entrepreneur for, pretty much since I remember. I was trying to convince my little sister. Not my little sister, she's older than me, but I just been, a kid. But it's like I would always try to convince her to go run the lemonade stand while I would go do other things. That's kind of where I got started, But then going from that, I kind of started a bunch of different businesses. I think I started, I think it was 7 businesses before I ended up on the one I'm on now. And it's I kept pivoting and shifting and then kept going in and out. And, I just kept pushing forward. And then to the point where I eventually started Ocean Connection, which is the company that I'm, going with and starting now, where I'm basically helping small business owners that sell products on the internet, market their business, get online distribution, right? How are they getting their products sold and getting traffic and attention on their products? So through all those different things, I've really been helping small businesses modernize, which right now has been a really big deal, especially because helping a business set up in-store pickups right now in the world of coronavirus and all that stuff is a must. So it kind of is accelerated where I thought I was going to be by this point, and kind of lit a fire underneath my butt and kind of kicked me in the high gear. So that's what I've been doing. So I've been working a lot with small business owners and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Love it, man. That's incredible. Big shout out to Patrick Massey and Hype Designs. Sorry I couldn't make this one, but next time for sure. But yeah, I mean, Patrick's doing some really big stuff for us, man. We're super excited. But appreciate you at least tuning in, man, here in spirit. So Jason, man, that's really incredible, the stuff that you're doing. And I love that you shared kind of with me, kind of your why and all those things. But, what impresses me is that you have this growth mindset at such a young age, right? It seems like that we're finding a lot of these newer, younger, hungry entrepreneurs, which I love. So can you tell us a little bit more about what has you pushing so hard, to go this route versus maybe the traditional go to school or work for somebody else?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I'm totally on fire about. It's because it's like pretty much I went through school. I've always been a terrible student. That's honestly like I've always been like kind of like a bright kid, but man, I just could not focus in class, and my brain was always going 1,000 different ways at the same time, and I was always pretty much old. And I went to a really like academically like hard school, so it was like among all these people, I was like, man, I am really dumb. I think I was probably in like the bottom like 10% of my graduating class, I would bet. It's like I did, and I like barely got into college at all. But the reason I ended up getting in is I wrote this pretty good essay where I basically just explained all the different things I wanted to do and businesses I wanted to start and where I wanted to, go. And then, I went to school, and I've always had this idea of starting this business on like the Ocean Connection business in my mind. And I was like, man, I just had so many people tell me that, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, all these places, there's no way that you can gain market share and there's no way that you compete with these guys. And I was like, and I kind of just took that as truth. And I was like, oh man, there's no shot. And then I ended up and I was like, you know what, let's just go for it. Cause I know that I'm right. And I'm just going to keep pushing. And then I ended up doing this thing for my class at UCCS where like, you got to pitch a company. And then I picked this company and I was like, okay, cool. So like I ran it by my professors. My professors are like, Jason, there's zero chance that this is going to work at all. You are a complete idiot. Like they didn't say that, but they're like, maybe you should think about moving into this other thing, or like go see this pretty thing over here. Go look at that. And then I kept on hearing these professors and stuff like kept telling me like, not that I couldn't do it, but they're basically just saying that like, this is not going to work out for you is what I just kept hearing again and again. And I started like hearing more and more about, like all these things that like, oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like I know, so like there were so many things that like my professors were telling me, and I was like, dang, okay. Like, and then I realized I was like, man, I wonder like, what do these guys know that I don't? So then I like asked them, it's like, what books did you read? And like, how many books do you read a year? And I asked them all those questions, and they were just like, I try to read a book every, 2 weeks. I try to get one done. And I was like, man, it's like, if that's what it takes to be like a college professor, what if I could read a book every 2 days? And I just started doing that stuff. And I started doing that. And actually the summer before I went to school, cause I was like, man, I'm not very good at school. I probably should read up on this business stuff before I like go to business school. And then I like went through all that, and I kept just trying to keep learning. And I had this mentality of like, hey, if there's something that I don't know, I'm not going to pretend like I know it. I'm just going to try to figure out a way to learn it.
Yes.
And I did. Yeah. But then
I see Scott's just big smile ear to ear, man, because he's so excited. Just the same way that I felt meeting you yesterday, man. I love it. Patrick Massey says, can't move forward unless you push forward. Good job, Jason. Dude, so
it was crazy.
I love that. And you know what's funny is that like, that FedEx was started the same exact way. Right? His professor talked about how the future was air transportation. And he was like, no, he's like, because even if it lands, how are you going to get it out to the people? And so he built his entire business model thinking of basically ground transportation was the way to go. And now FedEx is a huge monster that we know today. So I love the fact that your thought process was, let's go further. Let's just test it. Let's explore it because I know that I'm right. And that's incredible, man. So, and Scott, I know, man, I know you're itching. So let's go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Jason falls in line with what we're trying to create, which is the Fuji lifestyle. Did you tell Jason what that is all about?
I did.
Okay. So, man, what you're doing it's hilarious because you got people that are like, oh, it's too small. You won't be able to do it. So my question, when you look at that, so you've read the books. What book really resonates with you? And then how many books have you read so far this year? And then with your name, Ocean Connection, for your business, what's the significance with that name that you gave your company?
Man, with books, I had this really pivotal shift after I read one book, and that was the Steve Jobs autobiography. And it was a freaking monster book. It was like 500 pages. And that, man, it's like, it gave me such perspective, because it's like the thing is, like, in my bones, I know that I'm going to be successful. Like, it just is, it's not a matter of like if, it's a matter of when. I just have to keep going, right? So I know that. And then I read this thing. It's like, it talked about each stage of the company, like how did he do things, and how like literally it's like when he walked up to that first person and he was like, hey, I want you, this is what Apple computer is going to be. And he had to talk to that first person. And it talked all the way from that perspective of like from the very beginning to the very end. And it just totally like lit up this light bulb in my brain, because it's like he achieved all this stuff, right? And he did really well. Like his business mind is brilliant, right? But then it talked about his personal life, and he totally was falling behind. And that was something that I've seen with a lot of entrepreneurs and people that I talk to. It's like you totally like lose. It's like you kind of feel like, oh, I'm totally good on my own. I don't need other people. Or you take advantage of the people that want to work with you. And that was a really big one, because I like thought in my brain, I was like, man, I got to try to do things the right way. I could take these things that I really liked about Steve Jobs and Apple, and then, hey, I can like, not be a dick and like try to be a good guy, and that's like my goal is like, I want to have empathy for the people that work with me, and be a really good person. And especially from the customers, it's like, if I'm not bringing an exponential amount to these small businesses, like I shouldn't be in the business, and I don't deserve to win or earn their business. If I need to earn, it's like, the rents due thing. It's like, we gotta like
every day. Yep.
Yeah. Rents due every day. And like, that's what I got to think of. It's like, hey, for this person right here that had this, let's say they had this negative experience, how can I make sure that I'm making sure that we're on good terms there, and I can fix that problem for them? And how can I constantly be getting better? And then with where the name Ocean Connection came from, it's because it's really funny. I had like 9 different names that I like cycled through. It originally was dropandshop.com, right? I still have the domains and everything. It was like dropandshop.com. Gosh, I forgot what the other one was. And originally I wanted the logo to be a piggy bank, like a little pig, and I wanted to have a pig be the mascot. But then I like started like doing market testing and stuff, and I was like, man, I want a name that no matter like where you are, like you're gonna know of that. Like, there's like all these like things that like are like truths. And it's like pretty much there's kind of this image in my brain of like the ocean is like a business marketplace is like the ocean. It's like you have all these big fish eating little fish, and like all these, sharks and all that stuff. And I saw it as like this ecosystem. And I was like, man, if I could, it's like Ocean Connection. It's like helping the small fish swim. I was like, hey, that seems pretty cool. I like that name.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Because like the goal is not to go, put another $1 million in the same guy's bank account. The goal is to like help those people that, might not have all these resources or all these tools. Give them the ability to have these computational systems that would be really beneficial to their business. And how can I put those in those people's hands? So that was it. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm just going to leave and just let Jason be the face of 2NS, because he's literally saying all the stuff that we're doing, man. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Love
buddy.
it.
So my question is then, when you're looking at it, because it sounds like the autobiography with Steve Jobs really stuck out.
Yeah.
And when you look at what you're doing with Ocean Connections and whatnot, what is a big, audacious, hairy goal that you have that nobody knows about?
Oh, man, I'm not gonna lie. Literally, when I started the company, I was like, you know what? I think I can do better than Amazon. I think that they're missing a massive portion of the market, and that was literally it. I was like, that's deep down in my soul, right? It's like I really want to do it so bad. I want to win. I want to be the guy. Like that's my thing. Is like, hey, man, it's like, hey, I'm like, hey, I don't have the resources that Jeff Bezos had. I don't have a lot of the same tools, but it's like, how can I make this the best it can be? And how can I change the culture in terms of what it means to run a business online? Because, man, I know so many people, they have the Amazon systems where they go and try to get you to go pay for this like course where they basically tell you all these secrets. And it's like, there's not really secrets. They basically just tell you to spend more money on the advertising on Amazon. They aren't helping you actually.
Right. They just take Alibaba, get all the stuff, put it out there, and they pay people for the reviews. Bullshit.
1,000%. That's it. That's like every single one. That's all it is. And I was like, man, I think I could build a better system. And that's a little bit crazy. But that hasn't hurt me yet. So, I'd rather be known as the crazy person that thinks that he can go, overtake Amazon than the person that never dreamed, the person that didn't try. So, yeah.
You know what? The crazier it is, the better, because what happens is you're going to get to the point where you're not going to have competition because you're going to dream so crazy that people are going to be like, no, this can't be done. And so that stuff that's
so much. Yeah.
Man, when we talk about two native sons, I talk about some crazy ass shit going on here. Like one of the things is we're going to impact 1 billion people. I don't know if I told Patrick the goal for this, but 15 years. So looking at the end of December with 2035 for that goal to impact 1 billion people. But also I've told people that 2NS will be $1 billion enterprise. And it's because there's so much that has happened. With what you're doing, man, I'm excited because I know we've got some stuff that we're looking at trying to do in regards to drop shift, the print on demand stuff. And so I'd love to pick your brain on that and just help you out and just to see what we can do to do big things all together. So
without a doubt. Yeah. It's like the network's the biggest thing. It's like you gotta be able to have those people. And that's the thing is I wasn't super blessed with that. In terms of just having that Rolodex that, your dad goes and passes to you, or this person that, I kind of had to build a lot of these connections myself, which was a really interesting thing. That's
what makes it so awesome though.
Yeah. And the thing is man, I remember I just graduated high school and I was like, man, who'd be some crazy people that I could get in contact with? So then I just started messaging everyone. So then I on LinkedIn and I would write this handwritten message that not a handwritten, but I had this hey, I'm a massive fan of what you're doing. I think that you are awesome. I love what you're doing with, this company. I would love to, just have this connection with you and it mean the world to me. And I just wrote that probably 9,000 times. It's but I reached out to so many people and I was able to, meet some of those connections in a network. And now I'm able to call upon those people, which is super important.
Awesome.
So.
I love that, man. Yeah. So let me share two things that you talked about that I want to piggyback on. The first one is, people assume that just because a company is thriving that they have all the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in this past week, 2 weeks, I've had more people on my friends list complain about pre-orders that got dropped, packages that weren't delivered, right? All this stuff due to Amazon, right? And nobody wants to talk about it. They'll complain about it, but nobody wants to go and file a formal complaint.
Yep.
But they're failing right now in terms of all that stuff. It was all good through COVID, and then all of a sudden, now for some reason, it's dropping, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too that what I love is the vibrations you're putting out there, right? And, there was this talk of the GOAT. Heather, one of my employees, is in here basically saying that I'm the GOAT and all this stuff. But it's funny, though, because you talked about this piece of I want to be the guy, but I want to have a team behind me, right? And the very last interview that I did working for somebody else, and this is one that I used as a staple for probably the last 3 or 4 jobs that I had. And everybody gets the reference, regardless if you agree with it or not. But I used to just tell people flat out, I want to be on a winning environment, but I want to be Tom Brady of the Patriots, right? I want all those personal accolades for myself, right? Because I know what I bring to the table, but it's a team effort and everybody has to come to that and put their stuff in there. So when you put that out there, people are like, damn, I get that. I hate Tom Brady because of it, but I feel that, right?
I'm a massive Broncos fan. It breaks my heart.
But I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter. Tom Brady's the man, right? And he's gonna go down as the greatest ever. And I'm all for that. You know what I mean? Because there's just so many different elements. Regardless, a lot of people don't like Michael Jordan as a person. A lot of people never like Steve Jobs as a person, but they damn well respect them, right? Because they got stuff done. And so, again, even you, who was like, man, this kind of breaks my heart, the way that he went about it, the way that where he failed. But damn, did that not change my life reading that book? Same thing. You know what I mean? So there's just
Yeah.
bound to be people who are going to hate on you while you're doing great things. There's going to be people who are comparing the way that they're feeling to what you're doing. And we've talked about this. Literally, this business has started from sitting on a couch or at the park, really. Right? So
we're gonna get that damn park bench when
we are.
When we get it.
But it literally was a conversation at the park that said, "Hey, have you thought about this?" Well, you're like the fourth person to tell me about it. What do you think about this? And all of a sudden we bounced ideas and it was like, cool, we're going to write a book. Then it was like, oh no, you're not just going to write a book. You're going to podcast it. Not only are you going to podcast it, you're going to go and you're going to basically start talking to business owners because stuff needs to be changed. This one really big circle that we have here in Colorado needs to be changed. And there's people out there that are literally doing the same thing that we are. They're direct competitors, right? But what's funny is that like we don't focus on the competition, we focus on the collaboration, right? And it just makes us all better. It strives, and we're all challengers in between there too. You know what I mean? So we're still competitors, but we're working together because we're all trying to obtain the same goal.
Yeah. And a lot of the times you kind of get lost in the fallacy of it being a zero-sum game that you know, like that there's the 1 + 1 is just going to equal 2, right? Or the 0 + 0, it's like a zero sum. It's like a lot of the times, like if you can build a really good relationship with another brand or another company that's in a pretty similar thing, right? Like I have this really good example where I was talking with this marketing guy that does like social media marketing and stuff. And I was like, man, like, cause I've tried to do that before. And it was like, man, instead of me being like, this guy's taking market share, how could I pick that guy's brain? And how could I bring value to him and be in that seat instead of being like, oh, I need to be like defensive of, oh, this is the stuff that only I know. And there's this little secret that I have and you don't. But, you know, just being transparent and being, you know, honest in that. And it's a very odd balance as well. So
love it. Big shout out to Christian Patriarca, owner of Slice 420 Pizza downtown. Amazing, incredible food, incredible dude. And big shout out to my wife tuning in as well. So, so yeah, I mean, God, I felt like I stole some of your momentum because you were just on fire, dude. So I apologize about that.
So I do have a couple things here. So Jason, for yourself, when you look at everything that you're doing, what has been your biggest challenge? And by overcoming that challenge, what has that prompted for you as an individual?
Man, there's so many. Gosh, that's the thing is like, I would love to be like, oh, there's this one. And then it just was that. But there's challenges every day. And it's just like, you have to be able to overcome the storm. Because like one of the biggest ones that I can think of is I was trying to, because the idea originally was like I wanted a mobile app and do it all mobile centric. Because I'm like, I just don't think people are going to be buying things on laptops in the future. I just think you're going to be like, I need this thing. You're going to be sitting on the toilet or whatever, and you're going to buy it. Like you're not going to type it in. It's just you're going to go whatever's the fastest. And I was like, well, how could I make the ease of use there? I still definitely want to do that. But I like sat down with my co-founder, Liam, who fills in most of my gaps, if not all of them. Because I'm like, because there's a lot of things, technically speaking, I can't do. And we basically, I was like, dude, Liam was like, hey man, I think what you're doing is like sick. And I think that you have balls, which is like something you can't teach, which is literally it. It was like, because he was like, man, I talked to all these different business majors at my college, and like no one just has the intestinal fortitude to just go get it, and like you do. And
God, this guy's vocabulary is impressive.
Yeah,
let's fucking go.
I love it.
Intestinal fortitude, man. Ray Kroc, baby. That's where the quote comes from. Yeah, but God, then I was talking with him, and he's like, dude, like you're gonna code this app, and it's gonna take you literally 2 years, and especially like. And even if I help you on it and I learn React Native in this coding language, it's going to take you 2 years. What you need to go do is I think you need to try to go find a website, and like you can figure out a way to build a website pretty simply. There's a lot of tools online that you can help you do that, right? Go do that and go sell. Like go get a bunch of businesses on this platform, get a proof of concept, and then you can go spend the 60, 70K to go get some really phenomenal engineers to go build it for you. And then you can basically have everything all done in a much faster timeline. You'll be in a heck of a lot better position, especially for fundraising down the road. And it was like, and that's the thing is like, also I got to balance. It's like, if I just think I'm like, oh, I need to stick with this thing all the time and don't ever change. Right. Cause like, that's something I'm totally on. And it's like, I'm like, hey, I got to stick on my plan. I just got to keep swinging the axe. It's like, then Liam was like, oh, you got to go sharpen the axe first. You got to figure out how can you do this in the best way. And I got to have like a bunch of humility in that and be like, hey, I don't have all the answers, and be able to have that self-awareness. And that was it. And like, that was a really big struggle because I was trying so hard to learn React Native. I literally have this big Coding for Dummies textbook that's like that big that I was trying to learn. It was just so hard. So,
well, I think when you look at that, though, that can really, so this is the thing. You have this vision. So now you start talking about the avatar, the person that you need to link up with that can see the big vision with you, but can get that skill set in there. And then you allow them to run with that shit, and then you keep dreaming. You have these bigger dreams and whatnot. And so you've got the idea. And so you're going to find that person that's like, fuck yeah, let's go. It may sound crazy, but we're going. And so
I'm very fortunate in that. Yeah, he definitely fills in those gaps. Like, that's Liam, so he's a stud.
Love it, man. Let me ask you this question here. At your age, right? There's a lot of people who are talking about millennials and bad mouthing them, right? Now, I have an employee. I told you he's 22. He already wrote a book, right?
That's awesome.
And he's just got this mindset. He knows he's going to be a millionaire by the time he's age 30. He wants to give back, wants to start multiple businesses. Got another couple of group of videographers that I work with. I think the oldest one's like 24, 25, 26, something like that. Just incredible dudes. They've taught me so much about Facebook and the algorithms and helped me up my game. So, when I see people like you, man, who are hungry and excited and excitable and just all these things, right? Like, for me, I'm like, damn, I can't wait to see what Jason does, and I can't wait to be a part of that journey with him and help him out in whatever way possible. You just have that effect on people when you meet them, man. So I love that. So tell us, man, like, what have you had to deal with? What are some of the things, maybe the struggles that you come across because you are a young entrepreneur, and maybe some of the stigmas that are coming with that?
Well, to be honest, it's like a lot of the times, like a lot of the pitfalls like that normally are happening with like youth. A lot of the times they think that they're disrespectful, that they don't care, right? That they're entitled, right? And that's my job to change. Like, that's like the status quo. And actually, I'm Gen Z. Actually, I'm
okay.
I'm a little bit younger than even millennials. It's crazy.
Sure.
It's very weird to think about. And then it's like pretty much like I have had to learn so much about like because I've always been a really respectful person. And that was something that I immediately, by me just being kind and respectful and, not acting like I have it all figured out. And that's something I don't want to lose, is because if I feel like if I come down as condescending and cocky, I lose. And they're going to be like, well, that's another kid that's going to go steal my money and, never talk to me again. Right. How can I make sure that I have to like beat that expectation? I got to go above and beyond and be like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm doing this in the best way possible, and I'm going to give them a tremendous amount of value. And that's my main goal, is in terms of like, it's like, like being young, a lot of the times is like looked down upon in terms of like, if you're getting an investment or raising money, a lot of the times they're like, they see, 20-year-old CEO, they're like, I don't like that. And there's people that you just got to find people that are trying to invest in you instead of trying to invest in your company a lot of the time. So if I can just create this thing where, people are willing to bet on me and, they're like, hey, hey, I see that you're a young kid, but hey, I see that you're hungry. I see that you want to go up and get after it. And, I want you to go change that. And then you can do business with the right kinds of people. If that answers your question. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, absolutely, man. That's perfect. Yeah. And then I want to go back a little bit here, because this is something that I've always felt as a child myself. And you talked about that you said in your bones, in your soul, you knew that you were destined for something bigger. Right. And so for me, I spent a lot of my time taking that gamble on anything, hoping that was the big thing. Right. And it's really tough sometimes, because sometimes you feel isolated because not everybody feels that. So tell me a little bit about what that's been like for you, man.
You were preaching to the choir here, man. Dude, when I sit down, I talk to like people I went to high school with, or like, all these people that are like, like just going the normal route. And they're like, you know what? I hate what I'm learning in college. I hate that I'm spending this much money. I'm not sure if I want to work in this job, but I don't want to drop out because I'm scared that people are going to judge me. Like, I hear that all the time. And it's like, dude, it's like, if you just take away that fear of judgment, you're going to be in such a good spot. like, and people see what I'm doing, and it's like they're like, man, it's like, oh, there's that guy. He's just like going after it. And then it's like it's been really isolating, honestly. Like you gotta like I found like maybe like 3 people that are like on my same like wavelength. I know, but it's like there's so many people that have like a victim mindset of like,
oh my god, let's go.
yeah, it's the worst. It's like I know so many people that complain when they're sleeping in a bed, like in a house with heat. Like, how can you complain? Like that was something that I did. Because basically there was this thing. I went up to Boulder to try to pitch a bunch of businesses. It totally sucked. I batched pretty much every single sale. I totally was doing terrible, right? And I got to the end of this terrible day, and I was like, gonna just go get like a hotel room, and I was like, you know what? I didn't earn it today, and I should just like go sleep in this van because I have this delivery van that I drive around in. It's this really piece of crap van, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go sleep in this van, so I can really like take perspective of like what like how can I be grateful for even this, that I have the opportunity to go sleep in a van. Like there's people that don't even have that, and I got to be like confident in that I'm like grateful for even like in a bad situation instead of just being like, oh, I see this thing that this bad thing happened. Everything in the world's terrible and it sucks. But I can just like be grateful for like literally sleeping in a van down in the Walmart parking lot. Like how can I be grateful in that circumstance? And I took that and I was like, how can I apply that to my life? And that was honestly one of the biggest pivotal shifts, because then I came back and I was like on fire the next week, which was crazy. And it was really good. So
I love that, dude.
Yeah,
man,
dude.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. So this is a crazy thing. And when you hear people are like, I'm scared to be judged, I'm like, you're already being judged 100% of the time. So how are you going to show up in that time when you're being judged? And I think we have to understand too that the biggest person that's judging is ourselves. And so you could go take a picture of a plate of food and it's a 5-star, let's say it's a three-star Michelin restaurant, and somebody would be like, that's a piece of garbage. It's like somebody's got an opinion somewhere. And it's like, okay, come here, I'm gonna fight me. We'll fight. And then we'll see what's garbage here. But it's crazy. But I do have as we're going through and whatnot, there's an exercise. It's called the 3 most important questions. And so it is experiences that you want to have in life. How do you want to grow? And what contributions do you want to provide in your society, in the world, in your community? So for yourself, Jason, what's an experience that you want to have that's outside of the business?
Outside of business, man, I really want to go on Hot Ones. I'm not sure if you've seen that show.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
I like literally. That was like I wrote down my bucket list, which is pretty much like what that is. And I like wrote down this stuff. Is like I want to play guitar with Post Malone. I want to like do that stuff, like these crazy things. And I was like, there's like I'm just gonna try to do that stuff. And it's like a lot of times you can't connect the dots. And it's like then like I want to run $1 billion company. I want to do all this different stuff. Yeah, and it's like with all of that is like those are the things I want to do. What was the other question?
So when you're looking at how do you want to grow? Is there a specific seminar that you would really want to go attend? Is there somebody that you truly respect that you would love to get coaching from? And maybe you understand that these people are going to charge $100,000 for coaching from them. But what's a way that you want to grow?
That's a really interesting question. And something that I see is I try to grow in like these 3 facets of my life constantly. It's like mind, body, and spirit. Those are my big things. It's like I would love if I could go sit down with like a Mr. Olympia type guy, or like someone that is like really healthy, like an ultra marathoner, like David Goggins. I'm not sure if you guys know him.
Yep.
I would love to sit down. Like I want to do what Jesse Itzler did. I want him to go live with me for a week. That would be awesome. I would love that. Not love that. I would hate it in the moment, but then I look back on it and be like, okay, that was awesome. But yeah, that's like with my body. And then with my mind, it's like, I would love to sit down with like a Mark Zuckerberg really bad. Or like the Winklevoss twins as well. Cause they're also really, really good. Like both of those guys. And I just like, because I read this book, and it's like that's who right now. Like I know it's gonna sound weird. It's like that's pretty much like who I'm comparing myself to, which is kind of crazy. Maybe not be a good thing, because it's like that's a part of my brain where I'm like, man, it's like where was Mark at when he was my age? And it's like, okay, like that means I have like this point of time to get to 1 million users. And I was like, how long did it take Facebook to get to 1 million users? How can I beat that? And that's just a little bit of my like craziness. But yeah, sitting down with one of those guys, some of those big time tech guys, same thing with Jack Dorsey. You know, like those guys I really would love to sit down with. That would be crazy. And I just was to be like, that would be really awesome. So
yeah, I would one thing, just be cautious. Don't compare yourself to other people.
Yeah,
I would look at them as a target. But just know that you're Jason. There's no other Jason out there like you. So they're a target that you're going after, but how you get there is going to be completely different. So
yeah, for
definitely
sure.
some resignation here with the chat too, because Heather's saying that Goggins' books fires as well. So Scott, I want you to answer too. I mean, like, you know, what are some of those things that you want to do, or who are the people that you want to hang out with?
Yeah.
So in regards with an experience so how everything started here, I was going through the list of experiences and I wrote down writer. And then Patrick's like, hey, have you thought about writing a book? I was like, oh, this is very funny because 2 hours ago I was like, I want to be a writer. So here we go. And then also I've talked about being an international speaker, just because we all have a message that somebody else needs to hear. And we need to give people the okay that, hey, you can do what you want. Don't judge yourself. Go out there. You've got a message that somebody else needs to hear. And so if Lane ever catches this, Lane Wright, one of the platforms that we have at our disposal is lives, just like this. And so you've got to use the platforms that are available to you to share your message, because you don't know who is going to hear you that one day that they need to hear just the one thing, and you could really impact their life and really change their life. But because you were a jerk face and you're like, I got to put the spotlight on myself, I don't know what people are going to think. It's like, screw that shit. Put the spotlight on other people and get out of your own damn way. Fucking punch the damn ego in the face and tell it to sit down and say, you'll be fine. Here we go. And then the way to grow. So I sat through a webinar with Grant Cardone. And sitting down and getting coaching from him, it's $100,000 plus to get coaching from Grant, but hey, it's well worth it because you know what he's done. And so that type of aspect, but also going and sitting down and talking to Gary V, him and Tony Robbins, and going through some of the seminars and whatnot. And then the last one is the contribution piece. And so one of the things is, so I work with a company and they do bottle schools. So they go down to Guatemala and build bottle schools. And it's interesting because the bottle schools, the way they build them, they're earthquake resistant, and the material allows it to stand for at least 50 years and whatnot. And so by being able to help individuals out, especially education, to start that process, because you have a lot of countries that they may not go to school. The sad thing was when I was deployed to Afghanistan, we would walk from our fob to another fob, and there was kids out there at the age of 5 trying to sell trinkets to us to make money for their family and whatnot. And so it's a sad thing when you see that. And it's funny because when you brought up Jesse Isler, he actually, so I went through a challenge and he was talking in regards to what he did to start his jet airline business. He went to this conference where all these business moguls were at, and he was trying to get their attention, but he couldn't. So he found out where they would go for breakfast. And one day he bought out all the bagels, and he had control of all the bagels. And so to have them come and talk to him, they would go and try to get a bagel, and they're like, well, all the bagels have been bought up. The guy over there has all the bagels, so you got to go talk to this guy. But to hear that type of story and just that type of goal to go do that, it makes me laugh. Yeah, it makes me laugh.
I'm definitely going to steal that.
Well, did you ever see that story or that Facebook or YouTube video where the kid wanted so badly to go see the Conor fight, Conor versus Floyd Mayweather? So what he did was he found a copy of a press pass, made it, went online, printed it out, basically recorded the whole thing of him walking through. Got through security, was completely surprised, right? Walked in there and sat down in the press, like I think somebody else had to stand because there was too many seats or not enough seats because he had an extra seat. And he's sitting there like kind of like laughing that he's through the whole thing and he's trying so hard. And the only thing he didn't do was ask a question. And he wanted to, and he almost did, but he stopped himself. You know, and again, like, yeah, that sucks that he stole that to get in there. You know, that's not cool. But also at the same time, like the balls of that guy to do that.
Intestinal fortitude, baby. It's
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Steven Spielberg did. You guys know that?
I did not.
Steven Spielberg went to Hollywood on a tour, right? And because he knew that's how he could get in. And so what he did was basically he left the group, started checking out all this stuff, found an empty office in the studio, and basically dressed up and started coming in and walking in. He remembered the security guy's name and he was like, "Hey, Jack," or whatever. And the guy was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Come on in." And he started working out of that empty office. And he would just show up every single day like he was a producer, started writing his scripts, listening to other people's scripts. And now look at him now in all the different movies that we would have. But we wouldn't have had that security guard stopped him and be like, "Wait, I don't know who you are." But he had that confidence, like he knew that he was supposed to be there. You know, and so when you think we look back and hear these stories, you're like, this dude's either a genius, he's ballsy, or both, right? And that's basically like what this entire process is. You know what I mean? This entire process of us being here on this live. It's not so much that you have to like fake your way into it, but it is exuding that confidence that you have in yourself to understand that belief that you have all the tools that you need to be successful. And it's just a matter of showing other people that you too need to be there and that it's that mind shift that we talked about. You know what I mean? So I love this conversation that we're having right now. Real quickly, let me just give a quick shout out to Soul and Lady Sassy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. But yeah, I love this whole thing. And for me, you know, what I really love, and I think that, you know, maybe I was just at that right age, but for me, I would love to have a conversation with Tim Tebow about overcoming those moments, right? What does that look like to be in a position where you're so polarized, you're so mimicked and mocked, but also on one hand, and you got another side of people who just completely praise and love you for all the things that you do and being true into yourself. What does that take? You know, what kind of gusto do you have to form up to be able to go that next level and overcome all of that and still do what you do, regardless if you fail, regardless if you do your best, but to be able to have that confidence and go out there and still be one of the most polarizing people, you know, to date in my mind. So,
well, yeah, in all of sports. That was another book I really liked that I read. Unshaken.
Yes.
That was like, that was a really good book. So
yeah, 100%. So that's awesome. Scott, let's change it up a bit. Let's bust out the pod decks.
I got that ready. We already know. So.
Let's introduce Jason to some pod decks. So this is actually created by another podcaster, and it's basically decks of questions that basically are completely random. We have no idea what it's like, but it's just kind of
idea.
Yeah.
So the first one is would you rather? So would you rather spend a year living at a nudist colony or within the Amish community?
Me? Okay, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go first. Okay, I would 1000% nudist, dude. I've been thinking a ton about that, because it's like I like get the thought process of why nudists are the way they are. Like, think about it. Like, why do we wear clothes? Is so weird. It's like we're the only animal that wears clothes and feels the need to like clothe ourselves. Like, you don't see a fox wearing pants. Like, so definitely nudist. Definitely nudist.
Let me jump off real quick because Patrick has fallen off my end, so I know he's watching and I can see he's looking. So I'm gonna jump off and jump back on. So Patrick should come out. So my Wi-Fi is all crazy. So I'll be right back.
Okay. So on one hand, like the nudist thing doesn't bother me, right? On one hand, I'm like, I kind of want to learn about the Amish community because they're, even after all of these years, they're still very successful. The stuff that they do, right? And how are they doing that without real electricity? You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of discipline do you have to have as a person to abide by light and dark, just from natural sunlight and natural moonlight, right? Like, to have that type of discipline as a person, there has to be so much more than just the commitment that, oh, I'm going to create something that's excellent because that's all I have. It's no, there has to be so much more beyond that, beyond the mindset, beyond the type of person it takes to be able to succeed in that type of environment. So I can see both ways and kind of being open to both, because I'm like, we recently did a podcast in regards to something called sunning. Have you ever heard of that, Jason?
I've not seen. What is sunning?
Okay, so this went viral, I guess.
Oh wait, yeah, I've seen it. Yes, where they like sit with their legs.
Yeah. Basically, they call the brown eye the fourth eye, and it's directly connected to the third eye from the pineal gland. Anyway, apparently I've learned way too much about this. We're still trying to connect with somebody from the sunning community just to understand the process. I mean, I'm not judging. I've seen some crazier stuff, I'm sure. But ultimately, yeah, it's somebody basically catching vitamin D or recharging themselves by getting sunlight in the butthole. And so you go outside and you basically sun. Now, again, if that's your thing, cool. But can we get some questions answered, please? Because
I'll be a deep dive.
I mean, so anyway, we'll get back to you on that. But I just need to know: is that part of the nudist colony or community as well, or is this completely something separate in 2020? 2020 has been crazy. So anyway, with that being said, Scott, your turn.
I'm going because we come born into this world with no clothes, so it's a natural part of who we are. So I'm going spend a year with nudist colony. It's all good. We're all human. We all have the same parts. It's just rearranged differently depending on if you're male or female. So hey,
why stop, Soul? Are you stuff? No, this is legit questions. Why are people sunning? I need to know, because if I'm not getting enough energy or if I'm not recharging, I mean, it's natural.
You just gotta go try it one time and then see how you feel. Right? You just gotta go out there, go for it.
I feel like it's a 2020 thing for sure. I mean,
and when you're so sad that they're all in lockdown, and they're just like, "How am I going to feel better? This is the only way."
Oh man! But if you're doing it from your home, I can respect that, right? Drop the kids off at the school, whatever. But these people are just like randomly out doing these expeditions out in public. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
how can you do it in public? Like that has to be like crime.
Right, exactly. So this is where we have questions, right? Like, is this a place where is there a dedicated place where you can go sunning? Has the state approved this? Are you social distancing? Do you have to wear your masks, in both areas? Like, I don't understand the rules.
These are the real questions they need to be asking in the presidential debates,
I feel like I'm the worst right now, to be honest, but thank you. So again, there's so many questions that we need to ask members of this community. And again, it's not so we can make fun. It's just like, when you understand and you're asking questions, you're learning, right?
Yes.
And I really think that maybe understanding the sunning community might wedge me or lean me more toward maybe the nudist thing versus the Amish thing. Right? Because if I know that I'm going to get so much vitamin D, being a nudist, that I'm going to be recharged, maybe that's a way better situation than having to live off of natural sunlight and moonlight. Well, I guess you're going to get moonlight on both sides now that we're talking about it. But you know what I mean? To be able to go from there to this, I got questions I need to know so I can make an informed decision.
Well, talking about, so I was listening to the radio and they were doing, it's called the Second Date Update. And so this guy was video chatting this lady, and he sees the naked guy walk behind the woman. And he's like, "What is this?" And so he's like, "Screw this." So he would never call her back. And so to come to find out that her parents are from Europe. And so it's optional. It's okay. But you're just walking across and whatnot. So, hey, you know what? To each their own. But so there was another thing today. This guy, he's a truck driver. He drives over the road, and he actually talks about that he feels free when he's driving naked. So just be mindful when you're driving next to somebody in a semi truck. They may be naked while they're driving. So hey, more power to them while they're doing it.
You know, it's a 2020 thing for sure. I mean, Corona, right? Business up top, Corona on the bottom. Soul says, I think if you're going to ask about the tan and B hole, you got to go to ask the Manitou area. So
that is funny.
I want to know why you have insight in regards to this. Are you underground, part of the Sun and community? Do you know people in this community? We need to talk. I need answers because this is crazy, and I need this for the podcast because people need to know about Sunin. I mean, 23,000 shares on that thing, at least last I saw, and that was like when it first happened. Anyway, if you're part of the Sunin community, if you're interested, if you get details, facts, meet people, I just have questions. I don't want to necessarily shake hands with them or meet them. I just want to ask a few questions. Again, no judgment, just super curious, right? Because like if I can go Super Saiyan for spending a few minutes outside, hey, it might be worth it. So
that is a totally big thing. I do know that. Like I know like there's like this big movement behind like naked yoga and like sunlight. Like that's a big deal. It's supposed to be super good, especially for your confidence. Like you feel like the guy, you know?
Oh man, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that for sure. Yeah. So more questions for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I think we need to move forward and maybe go to this.
I want to do another one.
Yeah, more questions, please.
What's your reoccurring nightmare?
Reoccurring nightmare.
Okay, man, I've got one.
Oh man, I got no. Yeah, you go first, Patrick. I can't think of any on the top of my head.
Okay, so. You guys remember the movie Land Before Time? Jason, you probably don't remember this.
No, I watched Land Before Time.
Okay,
yeah,
good. Okay, good. So, like, that movie, like, hurt my heart as a kid a lot, right? Mostly because, like, my mom left, and so my dad raised 3 of us, so, like, that whole missing the mom piece, like, really hurt me deeply. But do you remember, like, near kind of the end when the cracks start happening, kind of like an earthquake or whatever, and they're trying to jump around and all that stuff? Well, like, as a kid, I would have these dreams that I was walking, and it was, like, in front of my school, and it was always in the same exact spot or in front of my house. And what would happen is that I'd be walking, and I would just step on a crack, and I would fall in, and it was, like, complete darkness, completely black. And then the black piece would start shattering like glass, and I would wake up in this crazy cold sweat. And I had my friend Aaron kind of interpret it, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, you definitely feel that you're fragile. You have these empty spots and all these things that continuously feel like that you're failing or that somebody's failing you. And then that broke my heart again because I realized that here I am, 35 years old, 34 years old, still breaking my heart and still feel like people are letting me down or that I have this emptiness. So I had to really go and take a look at all that stuff. So anyway, a lot deeper than what I wanted to go. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Hey, you're the one that divulged the information. I just asked what's a recurring nightmare. You didn't have to divulge, but you decided to
now I'm being judged even more.
Hey, authenticity. That's how you do it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Vulnerability, transparency.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like, I know it's gonna sound kind of weird, but like my nightmares just are super weird. You know, it's like it's never just like, oh, scary thing. It's like I have like storylines that will like go and be like negative or like you'll kind of like go down a path, which is super weird because then like I could if it starts going down a super negative path, I like think about it. And then I'm like, oh, this is probably a dream. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I usually like wake up. It's really weird. So I don't know. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't have a system.
I think ultimately for me, it's just if I ever stop smiling, like just because I know I'm crazy and whatnot. But so growing up, I used to have a fear of balloons. And so I'd be like 2. And my parents would try to give me a balloon and I didn't want it. I'd freak out. And then very strange, like the upstairs in the mall and whatnot. Like I did not want to walk next to the railing to keep you from falling over because I thought it would fall off and I would fall off. And so like you look at like the crazy ideas and all that you had as a kid, it's so unique how like little fear things can pop up. And you're like, well, why would I be scared of that? But I think ultimately it's just for me is just losing my happiness and just being a sad panda all over again.
Yeah, that's interesting when you think about that. We'll have to get Aaron on here one of these nights to maybe interpret the dreams. It's crazy because he, like some people are really intuitive and kind of can understand some of that stuff, and it's really crazy because I've had him do some of those before, and it was crazy because I was like, holy crap, I'm actually going through that right now, and it's just really weird, that you have people who can really have all these different things, just like Jason and I have always felt that destiny for maybe doing something greater, bigger than ourselves. Some people really feel like that they have that same thing, that they are able to interpret and do those different things. So really interesting. And I would love to be able to kind of have him come on and maybe do a segment with some of those things. So if you got crazy dreams, if you think you're crazy, if you got stuff like that are really vivid, hold on to them, remember them, write them down, email them to yourself, whatever you got to do. And we will do an episode for sure where we get Aaron on here to go ahead and to interpret those. What's next?
Next one is, what is something you hate but you wish you loved?
Let me think here.
Oh yeah, I got mine.
Go ahead.
Vegetables. Vegetables. I'm like, I have such a little kid taste. I'm like, man, it's like I literally can only eat like 4 vegetables, but it's like I hate Brussels sprouts, I hate mushrooms, I hate tomatoes. It's like I'm like, I only like kind of like spinach and broccoli and carrots, and like, but I'm like, I hate eggplant, but I know it's super good for me, so it's like I gotta eat it because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like die if I don't. So it's like I gotta try to eat healthy. So yeah.
Well, apparently Heather's there either with you or.
Don't laugh at me.
I don't know if she's mad at you or she's going with you. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's laugh crying right there. She's laughing super hard.
Right.
Heather says, "Do you eat pizza?"
Yes, I do eat pizza. And spaghetti with meatballs is my favorite food. Like that's what's crazy. It's marinara sauce, and it's like I'm okay with that kind of tomato, but like I like hate the actual tomato, like on a cheeseburger or like a hamburger. Can't do it. It's terrible.
I gotta take it down to size 420 if you love pizza. So.
Oh heck yeah!
Ooh, yes.
I love pizza.
Yeah, it's incredible. What about you, Scott? What's something that you hate that you wish you would love?
Honestly, if you know me, I don't think there's anything I hate. Because I will take everything full bore. Like we had recorded on Saturday, the spicy chocolate challenge. Patrick was not very happy with that.
I was not. I wasn't, and it was the second time I had to do it too. That's the worst part, right? Just like I've done wing challenges, and my friends like, "Oh, you got to do this Mad Dog sauce." No, it's a piece of shit. I hate it. But we'll probably end up doing another one now that I know that Jason's in on it too.
Oh, I'll do it. Yeah.
We actually did one that had the full lineup minus the hot ones because the hot ones had been sold out for like 2 years or something like that. But we finally got it.
That's about building value again. Going back to business stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
sweet.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Did you finish? Did you complete?
I don't think there's anything that I hate that I would love because I give everything a try. So I hate whatever. So that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't.
Is it food related? Is there anything else that you wish you could like?
Something you hate but you wish you loved? I don't know. I watched Hamilton, so like I really wasn't. I didn't like musicals, so it's one of those things, I guess. But after watching Hamilton, man, if you haven't listened to the mixtape that they did for Hamilton, I would highly suggest go listen to that. So I think maybe that's it. But I'm sorry, but that's the thing. Where I'm at, I love culture, and so it's just a going experiences. So that's shifting too. So honestly, I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I have one. The Office. Everybody. A lot of people I know were like, "Man, this show is so great! It's so amazing,
oh, no.
Bro." I watched like 9 episodes and I just couldn't get with it. Like there were certain parts where I was like, "Man, that is so dumb, but it like I resonate with that, right? And then there are other parts I'm like, why? Why is this popular? Why is there so many people? Why is there 20 freaking million episodes of it, right?
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there watching it, I'm just like, I don't get it. And then I meet people in real life who they're like joke like that, and they're like, I'm kidding. And I'm like, you were? I was like, you must be a huge fan of The Office, right? And they're like, yeah, it's my favorite show. And I'm like, it makes sense. I couldn't do it, man. I just don't understand.
You got a small tribe with you right now.
I do. Thank you. That show was terrible. I didn't like that show either. What's up, Garrett? Yeah. Thank you.
I'm a Parks and Rec guy. That's my thing. I love Parks
the same
and Rec.
thing. I could not get into that either.
You didn't
And
like Parks and Rec?
I love Aziz Ansari, man. Like the
Oh.
same thing. I couldn't get into that one either.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Seinfeld was another. Okay. I feel that.
Man,
So-
my favorite show of all time is Curb Your Enthusiasm. So it's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like-
How do you guys? How about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I love that's a funny
Okay,
show.
I like that one. How I Met Your Mother, right?
That one I did get into. One that I really got into, it was New Girl. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Oh,
one.
yeah, dude.
I haven't seen that yet.
If
No.
my wife
That
is still
one-
watching, babe, make mute, but she knows that's my like celebrity crush, Zoe Deschanel.
That show though was hilarious, man. It was a good one. So
Anyhow, yeah. Sorry to stir up the pot here a little bit.
Yeah,
with
man.
The Office.
Well, there's a lot of spice going on in the chat. There's a lot of supporters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tribe thing, right?
yeah, that's true. So the last one I have, and this is funny that it is live stream. So it says, "Can you do any tricks with your tongue?"
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I hate you already.
Clover.
Uh,
You can do that one. Yeah.
So my wife and my kid tease me all the time, right? Because I can't do anything. And I always tell my kid, I'm like, oh, I have to put on the mask. And then for a while he was going with it, right? And I'd be like, oh, look, I could do it. And he was like, oh, yeah. And he just got to the point where he was so disappointed that I kept trying and failing. So he was just like, yeah, you got it a little bit, Dad. You know? And he's 5. You know, so he understands that emotional intelligence, because when I'm like, oh yeah, I got it, and he sees that I'm like super excited, he was like, yeah, he's like, Dad, you got it just a little bit. He's like, I'm so proud of you, right? And at 5 years old, he's sitting there trying to console me, and like, because his mom, she does like all the flowers and the clovers, and he can roll his tongue and do all these things, and I'm like, you're 5. I'm 36. I can't do that. I'm really upset right now.
Your age has changed quite a few times during this
No,
life. You said 34, 35.
Dude, I'm giving you experiences in the years that they have been. I am 36 years old at this moment. Okay,
Young at heart. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I act like I'm 12, so I can be young forever. Okay, but I'm trying to put it into context so you guys know how fresh those tears were. Okay, a year and a half ago, that I realized that I needed some work done internally, so that way I can make the very best version of myself. Okay, if we have to really cut through all the weeds to paint it on picture, that's what it is. I see you messing with your tongue. Screw you.
I can't stop. Now I'm thinking about it all the time. It's like visualization. I like think about, okay, don't think about moving your tongue, and then I'm like,
right? Yeah. No, I guess the only thing that I can do with bite my tongue is that I have an opportunity to bite it from time to time, so I'm not saying real things to hurt real feelings. Does that count?
No, that doesn't count because we already talked about it, man. You gotta be you love me or you hate me, so there's no biting of the tongues.
What about you, Scott?
We'll see. So I can touch my nose with my tongue. I haven't done it in a while, so we'll see if it works.
You gotta get right in front of the camera to do this.
I can't now.
oh,
Oh yeah, I saw it.
that's crazy.
That is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So it's not a Gene Simmons as long as his time, but yeah, it's one of those things that I've always been able to do that as early kid and whatnot, so it's funny and whatnot. So,
So I do have one more question for the sunning community. Is it possible to just like open your mouth and get sun in that way? Is it, or your nostrils or your ears? Aren't those holes too? I'm just saying, right? If you're getting direct sunlight and you're trying to absorb it or whatever, like, can't we do it that way? Did we have to really go through the anus?
Sorry. What I think the reason why they sun is because you're wearing clothes on that part of your body all the time. Let us see. That is a terrible time to make that comment.
Oh, that's awesome.
but it goes back to the whole nudist colony thing, though, too, though. So all this stuff is lining up tonight.
Good, yeah.
Okay, but let's look at this like legit.
You need to say butt.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, let's look at this seriously. That escalated quickly. It sure did. It sure did. But I mean, damn it. But seriously, think of this, right?
Yeah.
Is it not Steve-O who basically chugged beer through his butt to get drunk faster?
Yep. Well, you got coffee enemas.
What? Oh yeah, coffee enemas, right? You stick those right up your butt and then hopefully let the caffeine go right directly to your body.
Like I just pull up to some coffee shop. I'm like, hey, I need a coffee enema, please.
No, I don't.
Maybe this is a new business model for us.
I'm pivoting. You know what? Ocean Connections, done. I'm gonna do that. That seems like my new passion.
Dude, you go to Amazon right now. $19.99 because it's on sale through October 30th. And 1,166 reviews. Can we get into reviews tonight, or are we gonna have to save that for another night?
What are we reviewing? What
There's
did you just pull up?
1,000 people bought it and reviewed it.
Coffee enemas, 1166. And I love this guy's first title.
What's the most relevant?
The first title that comes up, it says gentle medium roast. Come on, we have to listen to this, right? We have to read this, don't we?
There's no, I can't.
We have to read this, right?
I still think I just don't believe that it's real. I don't want to believe that that's a thing.
Look, we got one vote already. If we get 3 more votes that say yes, we'll read them. But I promise you, that's the first review. Dean, 2019, January, and it's a 3-star review, and then we'll read the 5-star one after.
That is insane.
Well,
so let me preface, please. Let me do one thing. The enemas started first, I think, for a lot of health reasons. Okay, so it can be very serious for a lot of people as to why they were doing it.
That's true.
It's not just because somebody was like, "Oh, I need extra caffeine. Let me pop that in my sphincter, and we're good to go." Okay, that is not necessarily.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay,
no empathy. That's my bad.
No. I mean, you don't know. I mean, because I'm sure there are some people who are like, "Oh, that sounds like a grand idea. Let me just pour a hot brew right into my brewha." You know what I mean? So
that's exactly where my mind went.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's assume the best, right? Because Scott and I have had some of these, and we've learned some really amazing things about some of these crazy communities. And I'm not referring to the sunning one; that's completely different. So, anyway, verified purchase, reviewed in the United States, gentle medium roast. I'm writing from the perspective of a person who suffers from chronic Lyme disease. So the need to detoxify my liver is strong, and as a coffee enema is an effective tool in managing the symptoms of this. Aussie Health advertises this coffee as a medium to light roast, and I disagree. Based on my use of other brands, I would definitely rate this as a medium roast, meaning that it is more gentle and with less caffeine. So for a casual or beginning user, I would recommend this product. However, for a person with a chronic illness, I have found Pure Life products to be much more effective. I do strongly recommend starting with a medium roast before advancing to a light roast. For me, the ultra light roast by Pure Life I have found to be the most effective. And I buy the whole bean and grind it as I need it, but even their medium roast I have found to be slightly more effective than the Aussie Health. Aussie does not have the best packaging, as the method they have reclosing the bag is very effective. I hope you find this information useful. 207 people found that very useful. So that gives us great insight, right? To know that like
Wow.
this exists.
Man, it's like when you look at opportunities, it's so weird because you get so in your zone that you think that this is only the things that I've seen. Like there's some guy that probably has made a pretty decent amount of money on that. And that's something that literally I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Who in the world's going to buy that? And then if you just like listen, you see that it's like a really valuable thing. That's so crazy because like my initial reaction was totally just like I just didn't get it. And then it was like when the person reviewed it, it was just like it, made way more sense. And it was like, oh wow. You never would have thought of that. That's really cool. So
yeah, what's really interesting is just like there's a lot. I mean, this other one has 4.5 stars. It's quite a bit more expensive. It's almost double the price. 695 ratings, 85 questions answered. And it basically talks about the about section. Says especially made for coffee enemas, 100% USDA organic, effective for detox, easy to follow instructions, discreet packaging. They have the stuff that's frequently bought together. It looks like an enema kit, a non-toxic silicone. The ads are, for the most part, make sense. There's one here for enema bulb vaginal douche for women, reusable. I don't know if that's kind of similar. I guess I can see the correlation. But again, you just learn more about some of these things and these kits and why people are using them. I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I've had some liver stuff in the past. You know what I mean? So now I know how to detox. You know what I mean? So anyway, how does the beehole know the difference between medium or a light roast? Serious question.
Not laughing. I'm mature. I'm a mature adult.
How?
And well, you got to think he talked about he's used it multiple times because he's got Lyme disease, so his body's got to adjust and kind of feel that difference and whatnot. So he's going off of his experience. So I think that's where he's coming to talk about the difference that he feels.
Hold on. I'm Googling. Caffeine myths: dark versus light, dark roast versus light roast. So which is it? Which roast contains more caffeine? I don't know if this answers anything in regards to Heather's question.
Maybe you should give her that as her homework to give you the answer tomorrow.
Somebody has to know the answer. There has to be Reddit forums, Facebook groups, Facebook community groups. It exists, right? So
you could try to look at the company that was selling it on Amazon. You could try to find their Instagram page or Facebook.
There you go. There you go.
How you doing, Scott? Oh, you're welcome.
I wonder if people are doing the enema coffee, if any of them have tried the sunning. Legitimately. Right? Because if you're trying to cleanse, if you're trying to do all this stuff, right? If you have maybe certain diseases, or if you're maybe vitamin D deficient, is that how maybe the community got started? You know what I mean? Trying to help out from that aspect. These are the questions that we need answers to.
Man.
You do it, Scott.
Well, yeah, no. You're welcome, Heather. I want to know that answer tomorrow, too. So find out. After we get done here.
Now, right? Like now you're going to be sitting there and your worst recurring nightmare is going to be sunning. Or that you didn't get the right amount of coffee in your roast. You know what I mean? But that's got to be a thing. Like,
yeah.
So first of all, I feel for the people who truly have like these health issues and having to do it for those reasons. I do have questions as to why, again, the enema versus maybe just drinking the coffee. Is it the taste? Is it because it gets there faster or more effective? Again, those are the things that I don't necessarily know. But for somebody who's having to do it for health reasons, I want to know like how effective it is. Is it helping you? Is it, is this going to be just a trend? Is this something just because, it's popular, put things in your butt? I don't know. Because I mean, again, I don't say that like in a joking manner, because, honestly, like for some people, it's so much easier to just pop it in and go to work. Right. It may be easier to just turn around and just mix your roaster. I don't know how they're doing it. It looks like the kit looks like it's just kind of like a thing you do and you squeeze it and it goes in there. Again, I'm only guessing. This is pure speculation. But what is the difference between that versus, like I said, just drinking a cup of coffee? So
I think it's because you're getting really close down to like the colon and the small intestines and the intestines, so it's a closer source. And then, of course, I think with the intestines and whatnot, those walls are thinner, so it may go out to the bloodstream and get further out than normally drinking it.
Yeah, well, and here's the scariest part for me about all of this, right? Is that I'm literally Googling on Amazon Prime right now, and my wife's gonna like see these suggestions. She's like, "What the hell?"
Dude, the algorithms can be so jacked up, dude.
We're gonna be getting like some crazy stuff. It's gonna be like Wish showing up on my.
Oh yeah, your entire Facebook page is just gonna be full of those.
Yeah,
those ads.
Like all these suggestions and all these things that you should add to your cart.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you're gonna see it on Facebook.
Sorry, I apologize.
You're gonna see it on Facebook too.
Oh yeah. The good news is that everyone else is going to be seeing it. That's talking about it. You guys are going to see it because you're talking about it in Facebook.
Oh yeah, the all-knowing tech gods. Yeah.
Yep. So Jason's going to be like, "Hey guys, I found this one for dark roast. It's on sale for $9.99, free shipping included."
You see it listed the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times though, right? So anyway, you only live once.
Yeah.
That was all the pod deck questions.
Yep.
Okay.
I got the floor. So
again, we never know what we're going to talk about here. It may be the greatest or the worst time of your entire life. I don't apologize for any of it. Again, we show up unscripted. Jason, tell us, man, how was your experience here on the podcast tonight? What did you think?
I loved it. I'd love to be on again. That was awesome. Yeah, you guys are doing great. This software that we're in is also really cool.
Thank you.
That's very sweet. So yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I would love to come again. I appreciate it. So
definitely, man. And I definitely feel like that you're somebody that goes on our radar in terms of like people that we want to support, connect with, and partner up with. In regardless of what that capacity may look like, whether it's now, whether it's later. But I'm definitely excited to see your journey, your path, and what you do. If you need anything, certainly don't hesitate to reach out. We're old guys, but we're trying to do some stuff, you know what I mean? And so to be able to support that.
We got Garrett over here doing research for us too.
Dude, Garrett's a doctor, right? He said, looks like coffee enema is more for constipation, which makes sense. It makes sense. You know what I mean? So, that's what most enemas are for. And you think about it, coffee makes you poop. So, why not double dose it? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's really interesting.
The common answer was like, all right, the whole time, like, hey, you need to loosen up some stuff. Here you go. Right? Yeah. And so that's truly what an enema does. That's what coffee does. You might as well combine the two. That makes sense. Dang it. Overthink the whole entire thing. I'm just sitting there thinking like, man, this is like the new medical way to do this and all this stuff. But no, it goes back to all the basic stuff. So
yeah, it just helps with digestion.
Yeah. So thank you, Garrett.
Directly to the
source.
You gotta love this.
Good.
So, Jason, in regards with with your business, I'm blanking here. I do apologize.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there a specific industry, or is there somebody specifically that you would like to work with? And get in front of more often?
Me? Oh, sorry.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. No, like the thing is, it's like I want to start working a lot more with businesses that are trying to do like good. In terms of like one of my dream businesses that I would love to partner with would be Bomba's Socks. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Yeah, so like for every pair of socks that they sell, they donate a pair of socks. And I think what I could do is I could help them do that in a really good way. In terms of like, because right now, if you go search up socks on Amazon, like Bombas is like, even though they're like really popular, they're going to be way at the bottom because of how expensive they are. And they're not an item that, because if you go on Amazon, you're going to get something that's cheap, that's going to be delivered fast. Right. And Bombas is not that, because they're really like value based. And I'm like, if I could work with companies that are trying to do things similar to that and target that niche, that would be really, really good for, overall. And also it just would make, I want to be able to do good with my business. My goal is not to just be like, what's the Scrooge McDuck? I don't want to Scrooge McDuck with all my money. I want to be able to, reinvest it and, live below my means and keep doing a lot of good. Like, that's my goals. Like, I could work with businesses like that, along with just small local business owners that are trying to, put food on the table. That's who I really want to start doing work with. So
I love it, man. Dude, you're awesome. You're just like, it's like talking to a mirror. Your name says Jason Alexander, but I feel like you're more like, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I just lost it. Crap. Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but what was the movie where he was like super duper smart, man? Like, and he was
Good Will Hunting.
Yes,
That's my all-time favorite movie.
Dude, so like when I'm hearing you talk, that's what I'm getting from you. Like, just so much knowledge and so much stuff coming out and oozing out of you, dude. Like, I love it. So please keep doing what you're doing, and let's connect again soon.
Heck yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be on again. I appreciate you guys so much for having me. I think what you guys are doing is awesome. So also, if you need any help from me, same time. So I'd love to help you guys out. So
awesome, man. Thank you. Scott,
I was gonna say, how if people wanted to reach out and talk to you and kind of figure out directions or anything like that, how can they reach you?
Facebook would be a really good way. I'm on if you message the Ocean Connection app page, I can totally reach out to them there. Same thing with Jason at oceanconnectionapp.com. That's my personal email. And those are just really good ways to contact me. But follow me if you can find me pretty much anywhere. If you find me on Instagram, like any of that stuff, I'd love to follow up with anyone. So
perfect. Awesome. I just went ahead and dropped a
thank you. I appreciate that.
Sharing here. Yeah, definitely, man. And we're gonna get you in on one of my Wednesday lives as well, because I just think that you have this awesome message that people need to be to hear. Guys, if you could in the chat, please go and drop a like on that, share it with your friends, talk about how awesome and how fun Jason was on our show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, 100%, dude. I just see like
talking about sunning and all that.
The sunning, the enemas, whatever it is. But honestly, like what we want is this to be like a little bit of everything, right? Like, we want this to be something that where it's knowledgeable. We want people to feel like that they can be personable and ask questions in real time. I mean, I'm sure somebody was talking about that. I saw it because somebody shared it. So to have all of these things on there, it's because somebody else was having. And like I said, these are the same conversations that people are having. You know what I mean? So let's just dialogue. Let's just come and be honest. Let's listen to my wife cough while we're talking. You know what I mean? That's all
no, coronavirus. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're social distancing online. You know what I mean? But it's real life, right?
Yeah.
And again, if you can't have fun, if you can't be honest, and again, if you're gonna come in and be a judgmental asshole, then you're not the person I want to hang out with anyway.
1,000%. Yep.
You know what I mean? But if you're gonna be someone who's open-minded to talk about things that like people are talking about anyway. Why is it so much funnier that we're zeroing in on it? That's just the human spirit, right? Because now you're aware. Now you got other people probably Googling coffee enemas, sunning, wondering if
I'm going to be doing research on that as soon as I get off. So.
Dude, it's right? Because like the mind is inquiring and it wants to answer those questions, So, guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out. I mean, I think this may have been one of our greatest shows just in terms of viewership from beginning to end. And I can't thank you for that. I know a lot of it is we are gaining momentum. A lot of people are wanting to see, a lot of the stuff that we're doing. Again, huge shout out to Tabala Mexican Cuisine, who has sponsored this live.
Yes.
And if I know Jasper, like I think I do, she's going to love this episode and just be over the moon, pun intended. But yeah, I mean, we're super thankful, man. And again, if you guys are checking this out, just be on the lookout. We've got some more good news coming for Two Native Sons. We are actually going to start taking this mobile. We've got several commitments from restaurants and business owners who have said, yes, come on in. We would love to host your show and have you there. So we're going to start doing that to get more into the community, get to know more business owners, maybe get what their thoughts are in regards to coffee enemas. And if that's something that they may start selling, I mean, who knows, right? But no, truly, like it's really cool that we put it out there, and people were like, absolutely, we love that. You know, we had a food truck that was like, man, he's like, I'm going to give you guys some food and we want people to sample it. He's like, people who are watching, I'm going to give them coupons, like all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, we just wanted to come in and maybe just sample one thing, you know, maybe something that you're proud of to showcase. And he's like, no, man, he's like, I'm going to feed you guys because that's awesome. I love the fact that you're doing that in the community. And we have other people who are like, yeah, you know, let's figure out the logistics. And we've had some people that just said, come on in. So we've got some stuff in the works to be able to take this live, to maybe start getting maybe potentially a live audience as we do the podcast as well. So people who want to come hang out with us, right? Maybe get on the podcast. Maybe they have stuff that's pressing on them that they want to talk about. And again, you know, we want to give people that platform to be able to sit here and say, you know what, this is kind of pressing on me, or, you know, sometimes maybe just being human and being able to help somebody through something. And so let's talk about it, right? You know, we're not this exclusive podcast where you have to be our buddy to jump on here. Like, no. And you need a platform, come on in. I'll drop you the link anytime. You want me to drop the link here? I'll start doing that at the very beginning of our stuff, so you could jump in live. Again, if you're coming in being an asshole, I'm going to kick you out.
I got two things. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Garrett. I know he's been on here making comments and whatnot. So part of the sponsorship that we have, Garrett's part of it. And so we have a very large collaborative net. And so the sponsor that comes on and joins with us and works with us, they're getting a lot of exposure because we tell people, I tell people to increase what you can do, you've got to get on other people's stages. And then the logo that Patrick has behind him, that's a shout out to Duran. What's Duran's last name? Reese?
Reese, yep.
So I would tag him in the comments. But anybody that wants some graphic design work, Patrick Massey is doing some stuff for us. Shout out to him. We have some stuff coming up with that. And then Duran with giving us the concept for our two initial logos. And so we want to just take this very large net and spread it and have this collaboration where people feel like they're family and understand where we're coming from, and just having this aspect that it ultimately, when people talk about givers gain, ultimately what we're doing is following in line with that. We don't just talk shit. No, we're actually putting everything to work, and we're authentic with what we're doing. So
yeah, and we're giving you the plans and the layout. There's no reason people can't do what we're doing, but here's the problem, right? Is that your execution, your thought process has to be your own. So if this is something you're interested in, we'll teach you. I mean, there's no secret sauce that other people aren't doing the same things that we're doing, right? But here's the secret sauce is that you have to be willing to continue to do it. You have to press on. You have to find your own way. And so a lot of that comes with failure. A lot of that comes with willing to fail, all those different things. And again, that's the secret sauce to any sort of business, is that persistence and that ability to do that. So if you're listening, if you're on the fence, if you're like, maybe I want to do a podcast, maybe I want to get alive, just do it. The best time to do it was yesterday.
Yep. It's like that popular adage. It's like the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So
absolutely. Yep. 100%. So, guys, thank you so much, Jason. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. This was a blast. It was very fun.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week with another episode of the Dreamer Cypher.
Yep.